Hey cheap coffee geeks. Well, let's be honest. If you were willing to spend a few $1,000s on a brand new roaster, the idea of spending 50 and half an hour to make your own probably wouldn't be of much interest. So how did I get to this point of making this cheap machine? I'd put in half-pound batches in that thing and I'd set it for £1 and it still wouldn't roast it up to my favourite roast, which is generally Full City in Vienna. So I persevered with it, and I loved the idea of making my own coffee. It was really cool, but we never were really friends. And then one day the relationship really soured when it completely broke. I couldn't get any parts for it. I rang up the local provider that I get my beans from and couldn't get any side or front panel replacements for that. Just weren't available in the country. So I looked at other options. So I went online and was amazed with the really cool things people are doing with home roasters and just knocking up these things basically from bits and pieces around their shed. So it really made me look at what I had around the shed. I was very aware during this that I can get a bit sucked into really cool projects on YouTube or online. Case in point, 3 different packages of Bluetooth speaker bits that just haven't got around to making, but I'm a bit intimidated by electronics. So that was another thing with this. I've seen a lot of them are really geeky and they had all these wonderful panels and thermostat controls and software to hook up to iPads and sensors and this sort of thing. And I could get in the road, but it's not really what I favour. I'm a bit old school, I'm a bit of a bushy, so I really like to come up with ideas that not only are super cheap and honour my Scottish heritage, but use the local things around the shed and, of course, produce a product that's at least equal to what I can get in my local cafe or from an equivalent professional fancy-dancy push-button full control machine. So the reason I mentioned the Baymore specifically, because while the machine was dead, it did have the drum roaster was still fine, and I thought, well, I might not be able to use the rest of it, but I can use that. So I started thinking about heating, gas burner, need something to hold it. Some sort of tin drum or something. I originally thought about using a big shop vac drum, sort of bending that in and using the Bunsen burner on the bottom of that. But there was a lot of plastic and so I didn't want to trash my my vacuum that's still kind of I needed. So I thought, well, hang on, there's oil drums that every cafe takeaway uses, so maybe I can get one of those. So I went down that night to the local Chinese cafe in my local town and they were happy to give me one of those. So brought it home, cut at the top, shaped it up, and sort of come up with a roaster that, at least in theory before I tried it, was seemed really good. I've got a lot of tools. I develop properties and as an owner builder I've amassed a lot of tools, so I've got a lot of cordless gear, so it was a pretty big no-brainer that I'm going to use like a cordless drill or driver to drive that drum that's sitting in that takeaway oil drum. So yeah, basically with that in mind I sort of put it all together. And anyway, enough of me yabbering, let's go and have a look at it. So here we go, aerial view first. This is my super simple setup. There's the drum from the takeaway shop, there's the drum inside from the Baymore 1600 roaster. I've connected the drill to a 1/4 inch socket extension, and that fits perfectly in there. And just go around the back. I've just drilled 2 holes in the back there, real simple. Just a big one so that keyed end goes in and then just drops straight in, locks in there, real simple. Just move around to the Bunsen burner. This is the thing, the only thing I bought new from a local hardware store, see it in there, twin burner. I could have scratched around and got that second hand, I'm sure, but I was just so excited and keen to get this fired up. I just handed over the $50. It's probably at, what, 25, 30 in the States or something. So, all right, coffee. You might be wondering what coffee I'm using there. It's a pretty bulletproof one from my wonderful suppliers, Coffee Snobs. It's a Peruvian. It's large bean, very simple, easy to roast. So, of course, me starting out and being a coffee idiot, basically I wanted to make something real easy to roast. So fire up and then I'll let you see it spinning. So here we go. I've just very basic, just a cable tie on the handle, and then I just cinched it in one click at a time until it starts spinning around at the lowest setting on number 1. So here it is. As I recall, that's about the same speed from the Baymore, probably 1 or 2k different. I'm sure there's some snobs out there that'll be, you know, terribly upset because it's 2 RPM an hour worse than it should be, or slower or faster, but I don't really care as long as it works. Alright, I'm going to fire it up and then you can see it lit and heating up and everything. So here we are, it's lit up. It's got twin burners. Look, I'm still starting out with this thing, so I'm still experimenting a bit. I'm finding with the large bean with the Peruvian that I can, I run both inner and outer burner. I'm going for about a 15 to 20 minutes full roasting time, and I did get that with the trial that I did straight off the bat. I tried some Brazilian yesterday. It's a smaller bean, natural pulped, and it went up to about 40 minutes, so it just shows you the difference between beans. So it still tasted alright, but it was, I don't want to be hanging around that long. So yeah, so I'll stop now and then I'll come back when it's we get first crack. So, what don't I like? Give me a second. Give me a bit longer. Alright, maybe one thing is, and I'm really struggling to find something at the moment, is there's no cooldown really, so maybe I could use some extraction or blower system to do that. I'd be really, if anyone could think of anything, I'd be really stoked if you could tell me, make suggestions with that, but I really think that because it's so open, when I do switch everything off, I keep the drum spinning for about 10 minutes, which is long enough to cool it down, and I'm finding that that they're cool after 10 minutes. So that was about the same as the Baymore. So maybe it's not even needed, just because it just circulates so well anyway. Yeah, that's about it really. What do I like? God, I love that it's just took me half an hour to make. Like, God, how can you beat that? It could have cost me, if I'd have sourced a cheap Bunsen burner, or maybe had one already, it would have cost me nothing, which is, you know, also phenomenal. I love the fact that it sounds like the boat from Jaws, so it just gives it a real edge. What else is there? I love the engagement. I love that I can sit over the top of this for 15 minutes and I can kick back and have a beer, and I can watch every bean turn. I can watch every piece of chaff burn off. I can see that beautiful slow maturity and the changing of the colours and the shape and the size of the beans, and of course the aromas that come off of that. I never had that with any other device that I've looked at or used, and I just can't underrate that. I just think it's phenomenal, and maybe that is the reason why possibly all the coffee's turning out, you know, so good. And when I say that, I haven't, the beans I'm having, coffee I'm having out of this machine is better than anything I had with the Baymore or the popcorn maker. And look, it could be a little bit like my car runs better after I've changed the oil thing. I'm not sure, but I've given it to friends and they've been blown away too. So, and that's without even mentioning how, you know, embarrassingly rudimentary this roaster is. So, so yeah, look, it's really nothing to complain about. So here we are, almost 17 minutes, and the roast is almost done. I wish you could come here and smell what's coming out of that drum. It really is awesome. So we're heading up to a sort of city roast at the moment, I guess. Once again, I'm no expert, but oh hello, we've got a little visitor down here. Look at someone's coming in to grab some bread. Wants to be part of the fun too. Share that with you. It's great living in Australia. So yeah, these are about done. They're smelling done. I'll cool them down, and then we might do a final shot of the this bean in the cup. Now I realise that I'm breaking at least some rule in the coffee playbook by not letting this gas off for 2 days, but my coffee, my rules. Let's see how it pours. Yeah, I'm feeling the love here. Are you feeling the love? Does it make you want to go and have a coffee? Does it make you want to go and make a home roaster for 50 bucks? I hope so. All the best with your adventure.